Welcome into the LMU men's basketball report for February 20th. I'm Scott Rowland in with head coach Josh Schertz to talk about the past week for the Rustlers and preview the one upcoming. Coach, last week you go to Mars Hill and had that big home game here against Queens, and you end up with a 35-point win over there at Mars Hill. But obviously the big story of the week was the top 15 matchup against Queens here on Saturday, and one of the more memorable games, regular season games here, probably that I can remember in program history. Get that last second win on Trayvon Shaw's jumper. So just obviously a huge week, extend the winning streak a little bit further there. So talk about the past week.
Well, obviously, going to Mars Hill always a tough task. I think they've been playing a lot of really tight games. We talked about that their record probably doesn't belie how much better they've gotten over the course of the year. So we went in. I thought we were really sluggish out of the gates, and it was really nip and tuck most of the first half, and we kind of got our nose out in front, and they cut it back down. I think it was 8 at halftime, and we felt like we were, we didn't play with much purpose or much focus in the first half. I didn't think we were very together, particularly defensively, and we got good looks offensively. Shots just didn't go in, and that happens. But I thought our defense and our energy and our toughness weren't very good. And second half, I thought we really tightened up. I thought we did a great job defensively, held them to 21 points. Kicked a few in that we didn't miss in the first half, and got separation. Obviously, we're able to jump out and get get some separation and then rest some guys, which is important because we knew we had a short turnaround for Queens. And I think with the Queens game, obviously really satisfying win because against such a great team, and they obviously are a team that's I think we've discussed this over the course of the year, good enough to win a national championship, and they've got all the pieces, and they're really good. And I thought our guys played with a lot of passion, a lot of determination. We kept, we really showed a lot of grit and toughness because we really were behind most of the game. Queens, we got up 12 in the first half, and we kind of would whittle it down, and then they would push it back up, and then second half I thought we took a lead there early, like midway through the second half, and then just really I thought some of they played great defense and felt like we had a bunch of shots that we just had go in and out, and they did obviously a great job on Luquan, and they were forcing other guys to try to make shots, and we were just struggling to do so. And then down 68-58 with about 6.5 to go, I thought we really had a great stretch defensively and allowed us to kind of hang in there. And Queens, a team, and when we discussed this, when you play really good teams, you have to take away the easy stuff because they're going to make enough of the hard stuff. And so when you got guys like Jalen Alexander and Ike Agassi and Mike Davis and Withers and Camps and on, they're going to make really difficult shots, and they're going to make really difficult plays because they're great players. What you can't do is give them the easy ones in transition, the backdoor layups, the offensive rebound dunks, fouling jump shooters, etc. I thought in the first half. We gave them too much easy stuff. They had, a couple backdoor layups. They had we fell asleep on one of their cuts. They face cut us and get a layup, and we had too many of those plays. I thought as the game wore on, we tightened up in that area. We gave less easy ones, made them earn it, and then offensively, we made big shots down the stretch. I mean, we didn't make shots most of the way. And but Lou hits a couple big threes. Obviously the one at 68-58 to pull us back within 7. Then he makes the 4-point play to put us up 1. And Scoot made a couple big ones in that run. Trayvon made a big one to pull us within 1. And then obviously Trey made 2 great plays down the stretch, which made up for a massive bonehead play on the defensive end. But he certainly made up for it. He had the great pass to Emmanuel. To put us up 3, and then we had a mental breakdown on the defensive end and gave them an open 3, and they made it, and then he comes back and obviously makes that shot there at the end game. So it's a really good win, like all wins, that unless it's a season ender, it's one game, and that's the key, is to handle wins and losses the right way, and learn from them, and then really you got to move past them, because the only thing that really matters is the next game. That's going to be key for our guys, is to handle this the right way. Learn the good things, the bad things, take the experiences out of it, get better from it, and then obviously, the only game that really matters right now is the Anderson one.
Well, what did you learn about your team's competitive spirit in that Queens game? I mean, we talked after the game how many close games you played the last 3 Saturdays and come out on top of all 3 of those. But just to, you get down 12 in the first half, the guys come back and cut it to 4. They trail by 8 at half. They come back and take the lead midway through the second half, and then all of a sudden they're down 10 late with about 7 minutes to go, 6.5 minutes to go, and still fight their way back and give themselves a chance to win it, and do win it. Against a quality opponent like that, what did you kind of take away from the competitive spirit of your guys and how they've grown throughout the season?
Yeah, well, I think that's it. I mean, I think we've shown we've become a resilient group, and I don't think we were resilient at all early in the year, and it's probably a little bit unfortunate. Like most things, I think this group has gotten more together and tougher over the course of the year, probably due to having to battle so much adversity, mainly from an injury standpoint. We've probably, I won't say probably, I know we've had more games lost to injury among starters and top reserves, and we've had 4 of our top 7 miss significant time, 2 starters will miss double-digit games, and et cetera, et cetera. So I think those type of things can bind you together. When you go through difficulties, when you go through hard times together, that's how you become. That's how you bind, and I think that's what's happened to us. Is we've dealt with so many things, and it's kind of forced us to come together, and we weren't that way when we were fully healthy. We've actually become a better team from a toughness standpoint and a resiliency and grit standpoint with all the injuries. So I think it's a catch-22. We'd certainly rather have our whole group back and have our entire team and be at full strength. Everybody wants that, but I think without going through what we went through, we wouldn't have had the resiliency to win these games. When we were faced with difficult situations, really in the first semester, you look at the Huntsville game. We always go to that one. Obviously, Huntsville came out, was really aggressive and tough, and we folded and quit. And and they just they could have named the score. I think they beat us 24, but it could have been 124 if they wanted to. And we laid down, and that was probably my low moment here in 9 years, because that's not been who we've been, and we've had competitive teams, and I really worried about this team. How it would be from a toughness standpoint, or from a mental toughness standpoint, and we've grown over the year, and it's really been good to see. It's good to see guys like Trayvon Shaw, Chris Perry, Scooter Taylor, these guys come along and develop and really develop a level of physical and more importantly mental toughness to kind of persevere, hang in there, and see what happens, because that's ultimately, when you get down to these games, and the last 3 Saturdays, and certainly the Carson Newman game first semester, and the Newberry game first semester, and the Queens game there on January 9th, they're coin flip games. Anything can happen. But I think we've gotten better at persevering. We've gotten better at understanding what you do to give yourself the best chance in these coin flip games, and we've managed to the last 3 weekends find a way back. And I think we were able to call on that, because we were down 23 to Newberry. We were up on Wingate, and then all of a sudden we were trailing at the under 4 media, and in these last 3 weekends we've gone on the under 4 media behind, and we've had to kind of dig down and find it, and these guys continue to do that. So I think it gives us confidence moving forward. Certainly, when you play really good teams, you got to play an entire 40, and you got to keep competing, keep punching, keep swinging, and it happens or it doesn't, but it has no chance of happening if you give in.
Well, and then we saw so much emotion there down the stretch. Obviously, you talked about, even loose 4-point play makes. That was probably the most emotion he's shown in his 4-year career here after that play. And then Trayvon, after he makes his bucket, there was a lot of emotion there. And I think that might have come from, like you said, the kind of defensive mess up on the other end there, where I guess he gets a 3-pointer in transition. But obviously that game meant a ton to the guys based on the amount of motion that came out of them.
Yeah, well, it's a game. Everybody knows the stakes going into that game. And I think there was, and it's more. It was probably bigger for us than for Queens because, the reality is people would say, well, it's for the number 1 seed in the region or for the league or whatever. It was that for them. If they beat us, then they clinch the league. If they beat us, then they're probably clinch the number 1 seed in the region. For us, it puts us in the mix to win the league and to at least get a share of it and to have a chance to host the region. Now we lost, those things are gone. And so I think everybody knew, both teams knew the stakes, and both teams, we have a lot of respect for Queens in terms of that basketball team and how good they are and how hard they compete. And we've now played them 85 minutes, and they're the real deal. I mean, they're the real deal. And so our guys knew how hard it was going to be. They knew what was at stake, and so you have emotions there when you're able to find a way. And Lou, like you said, that was. I've never seen him have any kind of a reaction to anything, and so I know he was really excited to obviously that was a huge shot, and he's been great for us these last 3 Saturdays down the stretch run. I thought he was great Saturday because honestly they did a great job on him, and instead of forcing it and trying to make plays that weren't there, he kind of stayed the course, stayed patient, moved the ball. He had I think 6 assists and could have had a lot more if we could have made some shots, but I really was proud of him for not letting the game come to him and picking his spots and not trying to take what was there versus trying to force it in a big game.
Well, and then like you said, you can't dwell on that win because now you go to the final week of the regular season here, and it begins Wednesday in the final regular season home game here against Anderson. A team who we talked about before we started recording is playing a lot better. Won 3 straight, 6 of their last 8. And, even one of those games, a 3-point loss at home to Carson Newman. So, we know what kind of team we're going to see, one of the most dynamic players in the league in Randall Shaw. So what's kind of the challenge of Anderson this week?
Well, I think Jeff's done a great job with them. If they've got a young team. I don't even know if they have a senior. I don't even know if they do. And you look at it last year, I think they finished towards the bottom of the league, and now here they are this year. Last week of the regular season, they're tied for 5th. They're in a jam with Catawba and Newberry, and I think he's done a wonderful job with a young team. They've got good players. Obviously, starts with Randall Shaw, who's leading the league in scoring, and played him 3 times. His freshman year twice, and then at their place and. He's given us fits and does for everybody. He's averaging basically 22 a game. He does it at all 3 levels. He's a tremendous scorer. They run good stuff for him, and it would be he's a challenge in of itself. But they've got other good players. Obviously, Maurice Howard's really good, and Dotson inside is a load down there. He's big and physical, and they got Boynton and Boughton, which are always hard to say, but they 11 and 15. And then Sean Bernard's giving him great minutes off the bench, and Lex Davis is a veteran guy who's played really well for him here the last 5-6 games. They won on the road, beat Catawba, like you said. They've won 6 of 8, 3 straight, and really put themselves in a great position to finish somewhere in that 5 through 7 range, depending on how this last week goes. So it's a challenge. Every week in this league is challenging. Every week is difficult. I think whether you're trying to rebound from a loss or trying to move forward from a win, the key is to get completely focused on the next turn, and like we always talk about, get the experience and learn from the game you played, and then you have to move forward and get ready for the next one, because getting too excited over a win or too depressed over a loss, it really doesn't make much sense. The most efficient use of your time is to focus that on the next game once you take the lessons from the game you just played, and that's where we've got to be as a team. We've got to have everything focused on Anderson, because if we're living in what happened Saturday, we're going to give all that back on Wednesday.
And we know how much is at stake this week. You go to Catawba to wrap up the regular season and could clinch the number 1 seed for the SAC tournament and a share of your 5th consecutive SAC regular season championship, and still put yourself in position to possibly host a regional. So obviously a ton at stake with a tough task with two teams that are sitting right at tied for fifth place in the Southland Conference standings.
Yeah, I mean, and Cataba's, Rob's done an amazing job there. He's got a team that is 17-9, 11-9 in the league, and they've lost a number of ones that are just slivers. They're I think an NCAA tournament caliber team. He's got three of the best players in the league, and Jameel Taylor and KJ Arrington, Jaron Morrison. I think Troy Warren at 35 against Brevard last game. Rakeem Brown hit 5 threes against Queens when they played Queens. Tough both times, and Rob does a really good job. They run good stuff. They're sound defensively. They're athletic. They're really good on both sides of the ball, and they're a team that hasn't shot it probably as well as they're capable this year, and that's probably why they're 17-9 instead of 21-5 or something. I really believe that because they like I said they do really good stuff both ways. He's a great coach. He's got really good players, and so down there is always difficult. And so this week is huge. There's just like the Queens game. Like I said, that really put us in position to compete for things. Had we lost that, then obviously the league's gone, and we don't have a chance maybe to be the number one seed in the region, all that stuff. And so what we did with winning is give ourselves a chance, but now we got to take advantage of the chance. We didn't clinch anything. We didn't. Nothing's been done other than we give ourselves an opportunity this week, if we can play well and find a way to win 2 games, to put ourselves in position going in the conference tournament. Obviously, to play for that number one seed in the region, and if we come up short this week, then we'll give back what we did on Saturday, and Queens will win the league, and we'll see how all the seeding and the NCAA stuff unfolds. But that's the focus, is try to go out, play great on Wednesday. We'll have to be at our best and continue to get better, and then obviously come back and try to do it again on Saturday, because anything less than our best against Anderson here or Catawba there, I don't think the rate that where we are as a team, we're not capable of winning games unless we're all there together. Our margin for error is significantly less, than it was when we were, had our whole team. That's what I told the guys when we found out Dorian was out for the season. I said, that we're not going to be as good, and that's, it'd be disingenuous to say anything else. But we don't have to be as good. We just have to be good enough to win. And the street we're driving on has narrowed significantly, so we've got to get better. We've got to be a little more. We got to tighten some things up, and that's the plan here for this last week. Get a little bit better, try to tighten some more things up, improve on both sides of the ball, and hopefully see a spike in the amount of good minutes and good basketball on both sides of the ball. And we got to see that good basketball and consistent basketball. We got to see that spike a little bit. We can still be better more consistently.